Welcome to the George Washington University. You guys are here for the inaugural event of the Euro Challenge. This is a big deal, guys. We're in a beautiful room. We're going to have a full day here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Scheherazade Rehman. I'm the director of the European Union Research Center here at GW. We are in partnership with this event with the European Union delegation, and you're going to meet them all throughout the day, with VICE, which is an NGO that does financial literacy in New York, and with the World Affairs Council, who's walking right back there. And you're going to meet them all throughout the day. So welcome to the Euro Challenge. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the Senior Vice Provost for GW. Basically, he's the second guy in charge of GW. All right? Forrest Mulser, if you can please come and say a few remarks of welcome. And after that, the Dean of the Business School, whose brainchild this is in part, will come and say a few words about what this program is all about as well. All right, so thank you for coming, and we will see you all day long. Forrest, please.
Thank you, Scheherazade. I'm actually not the person in charge of GW. The person in charge of GW is Stephen Knapp, who's the president of the university, who will be joining you this afternoon, and sent me on his behalf. But we're very excited to have the European Challenge here at GW, and I think it's really appropriate that it is here. One, GW cares a great deal about the financial literacy of its students and of training future adults about financial literacy. And I think it's really appropriate that it's occurring actually not only at GW, but in this room that overlooks the National Mall. I mean, I think there's one lesson that we have learned over the past decade. It's the importance of financial literacy and the importance of that people in Washington understand financial literacy. On behalf of the university, I want to thank the European Research Center for hosting and organizing this interdisciplinary initiative. We are pleased to be in a long-term partnership with the European Union delegation, such as His Excellency, the Ambassador, the head of the European Union's delegation to the United States, who will be here this afternoon with you, and the World Affairs Council, and Mayor Vincent Gray's office for their help with this event and their commitment to this university. Now what I want to do is take the opportunity to introduce the Dean of the George Washington University Business School, Dean Guthrie.
Good morning and welcome. Yeah, that was, you learn in the college classroom that those aren't rhetorical moments. You have to be a part of the conversation as much as we can. It is my great pleasure to welcome the students, the teachers, our partners who are actually building this with us, the European Union delegation, the World Affairs Council, and also to really thank Scheherazade for her work with the European Union Research Center. This is the type of endeavor and the type of project that we not only think makes us proud, but is essential to what we do as a university and as a business school. Just yesterday, I was sitting in the Ronald Reagan building talking to former Ambassador of China, Stapleton Roy. And we were having a conversation that was bemoaning the state of the global economy and the state of the U.S. system within that. But this is a state of the global economy that really, of course, hits the United States and Europe the hardest right now. Now, as a former ambassador to China, Ambassador Roy has deep knowledge about the Chinese situation, and I, as a former scholar of China, I try to still be a scholar, but not much time for that these days. We were talking about the role of China in this conversation and the role of the global economy in really thinking through the crisis that we're experiencing right now. That crisis, in my opinion, goes back a good 30 years in terms of the ways in which business and governments have become antagonistic forces really against each other, pointing fingers and thinking that each is part of the problem and neither is a part of the solution that we need. Now, the problem that happens then is business becomes more and more disembedded from society, and business schools become more and more disembedded from society. And ultimately what you get is many students and many faculty and many young professionals that go out into the world and don't think deeply about the consequences of their action, and don't think deeply about what it really means to be building instruments like mortgage-backed securities and selling them on the open market, and ultimately contributing to the kinds of crisis that we have today. But of course, our crisis in the global economy today goes much deeper. It's not just about young professionals going out into the market and selling derivatives and mortgage-backed securities. It's actually about the level of financial literacy in the household and the level of financial literacy amongst all citizens of the populations that we're talking about. So when I took over as dean of the business school 15 months ago, I had a dream. And that dream was about rebuilding a business school that was deeply embedded in conversations with government and deeply embedded in conversations with very, very senior people like Stapleton Roy, and very, very important people in places like the DC government. Now, it was to my great honor that I could think of building a business school like that in the heart of the nation's capital, 6 blocks from the White House and across the street from the IMF and the World Bank and the IFC, and be hosting events like this in which you can look out and see the Washington Monument and really think about both the national symbols, but also the concrete interplay between business, government, and educational institutions. And so to be able to engage in these kinds of conversations over the last year, we've developed a very deep relationship with the Mayor Vincent Gray's office, and Deputy Mayor Victor Hoskins has been a big part of those conversations as well. And the conversation has really been about what can we do? What can we do as an institution of higher learning, both the George Washington University, but also the George Washington School of Business specifically, to help push this along? We think a lot of high-minded thoughts about things like job matching, which was the subject of last year's Nobel Prize in economics. But what does that actually really mean for local politicians who are thinking about the concrete issues that they're facing? Now, building that linkage between the high-minded research and the actual on-the-ground experiences, that's actually harder than you think. But being an institution within a city and within the nation's capital, I laid a challenge to my faculty to help us think about how to do this. Now, it would be great for me to stand up here and take credit for this, and Dr. Riemann was very nice to say that this was my brainchild. But as a dean, you come up with a lot of ideas, but those ideas don't come to fruition unless you have talented faculty who will pick up the ball and run with it. And Dr. Riemann is somebody who has been a partner in crime in all of these things that we've been hatching as exciting ideas for engaging in these issues. And this program is a direct product of that kind of initiative and that kind of set of goals. And so actually being able to deliver what an educational institution can as part of the conversation for real important training that will help solve our country's and our world's problems is really what we're about. Make no mistake about it, that isn't an overstatement. You being in this room today is a part of that solution. You being in this room and thinking about what you can capitalize on in terms of financial literacy and then take with you through your careers and become great young professionals who are contributing to solving the world's problems is what we are about as a business school, and it's what we are about as a university. So I just want to once again thank you all and give you the warmest welcome for being here and being a part of what we are trying to do, and thank our partners who have helped us put this together, and thank Scheherazade Riemann for really driving this ship forward. And I wish you a great and industrious day, and have fun.